Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew Tucker. We have Norris Fernandez, Eddie Wong, and Stephen Oliver here as well today. And we will be presenting on People to People International, a non-for-profit organization that has a focus on educational tourism. It was established in 1956 by President Dwight D. Eisenhower as a way to ease Cold War tensions between Russia and the U.S. It was hoped that by learning other cultures, practices, and ideas, that we can help understand each other and break down barriers that were there before. According to People to People International website, People to People is dedicated to enhancing cross-cultural communication within and across communities and nations. Tolerance and mutual understanding are central themes. While not a partisan or political institution, PTPI supports the basic values and goals of its founders, President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Today, People to People International conducts many relief efforts as well as continues ongoing student-based trips as well as adult-based trips that focus on that inherent base that was there before, the understanding of cultures across the globe. Within the industry, there are just over 1.4 million tax-exempt nonprofit organizations in the United States, with a total of $316.23 billion donated to the U.S. charitable causes in 2012. Overall, fundraising increased by 4.9% in 2013, with 72% of donations coming directly from individuals. Not only has there been growth for NPOs, but there has also been growth in the amount of international students worldwide traveling abroad for education. In addition, there exists a growth in the seniors educational tourism market as well. With this growth in educational tourism and charitable donations, however, does not mean there's always benefit. People to People's performance has been declining in profit since 2010, from $5 million in revenue to just over $4 million in 2012. But they have been able to significantly reduce their overall expenses by $2 million. While majority of their expenses is allocated towards their program, they have reduced expenses by $590,000 or 54% over the last 2 years. According to the income statements, the majority of their revenue in 2011 and 12 was achieved from their ambassadors program, which accounted for 75% of the overall revenue. Investment and donor revenue accounted for 10% of the revenue. As for expenses, they have done well to manage them and reducing it by 11% in 1 year. In 2012, People to People International were able to make additional profit, which was used towards scholarships, funds, and relief programs around the world.
People to People International spans 7 continents, 40 countries, and over 500,000 alumni who help develop and ensure the survival of the organization. The following are some of the problems that People to People organization faces. High competition in industry with other nonprofit organizations. With the ease of entry and potential unlimited financial assistance, it's not hard for another organization to enter the non-for-profit industry. This makes it quite hard to stay competitive and attract potential customers and volunteers as well. Another problem that they face is that in 2012, 75% of their revenue came from their ambassador program through royalties. This is a high risk, as if anything goes wrong with their ambassador program, they lose 75% of their funding. A good way to combat this would be a diversification that we will talk about in the future. Another problem is the quality control of the employees that are being hired at the location. With a lot of confidential information and people traveling all around the world, it is much harder to control the flow of information, so they need to ensure that they hire the right people.
So the main issue that People to People International faces is high level of competition that is apparent with the industry from other for-profit and non-for-profit organizations like Red Cross and Peace Corps. In order to compete within their industry, the following strategies should be considered. 1, diversification of funding sources. 2, mergers, consolidations, joint ventures, and sharing of services with one or more nonprofits. Or 3, upgrading, professionalizing staff capabilities. But after evaluating each option on multiple criteria, the recommendation for People to People International is to go with the option of upgrading and professionalizing staff capabilities.
The implementation plan should focus on current errors in the company's old policies, suggestions to fix them, and direct implementation methods to effectively do this. At least 1 week is needed. The first 2 days should focus on the detail and operational procedures caused, including reasons and effects on staff and customers. Day 3 should focus on potential solutions and procedure changes that will affect the company as a whole. The following 4 days should focus on direct, supervised implementation of new procedures and solutions. This hands-on methodology will allow for a better understanding of the issues and solutions discussed in days 1 to 3. With any new training will come resistance, whether intentionally or not. This comes from the individual practice of older teens and the sudden change of new routines. Without proper supervised training, staff may revert to old practices and procedures. For instance, within People-to-People International's ambassador program, unqualified individuals received invitations to join unrelated programs. New training should focus on validating the background information of any recommended individual to precisely fit them into the appropriate program if interest is shown or an invite is given. Without the proper training, incidents such as inviting elderly guests to participate in 6th grade events, or more severely, inviting deceased individuals to events, may continue to occur. Much of People-to-People International's business is conducted through volunteer acquisition. This could cause continual problems regarding procedures even after corrective policies have been put into play. A contingency plan to combat the situation if problems continue to arise would be to allot funding to a greater size full-time staff. This allows for a solid base of employees that are continually updating themselves on new policies and procedures for the better of the business.
Based on those recommendations, implementation procedures, and contingency plans, we believe that People-to-People International, if following them correctly, could potentially have a greater diversification among competition within the industry, giving them forefront and insight that may not have been there before. With this, they'll have better recognition, reputation, and understanding of the customer bases that they are looking for. Thank you for your time today, and have a great rest of your year.